Sun Quan appreciated and regarded Hu Zong highly ever since Sun Ce assigned him as his reading mate. Even though he was a known alcoholic, he effectively served as Sun Quan's essayist as he drafted all the important documents for Wu. As one of the officers in charge of Wu's secretary, he was aware of all the classified information within the state. As such, he was involved in many events throughout the years. Zhou Fang flourished after the 200s, and his famous role was in the Battle of Xiting, where the Wu forces scored a major victory by leading the Wei forces into a trap. Zhou Fang's life before and after this battle has little recorded about it. Hu Zong was from Guxi County in Runan Commandery. He lost his father at a young age, so when the chaos broke out in the Central Plains, Hu Zong's mother fled south into the Jiangdong region. In the year 196, Sun Ce arrived in Guangxi Commandery during his conquests, which is when he recruited the 13-year-old Hu Zong as a household attendant. He was ordered to remain in Wu Commandery and serve as a reading mate to Sun Quan. When Sun Quan succeeded his brother, he appointed Hu Zong as a staff officer in charge of finances. Whenever he got drunk, he became rowdy and sometimes violent towards his subordinates. Sun Quan appreciated him for his talents though, so never reprimanded Hu Zong for his behaviour, but he did go on to become an alcoholic throughout his life. Since he pursued the great undertaking alongside Sun Quan, he served as his essayist and drafted all important official, legal and diplomatic documents for Wu. It's unknown when Zhou Fang was born, but he was from Yangzian County in Wu Commandery. He was well read and studied much in his youth, so when he came of age he was nominated as a civil service candidate to serve in the local commandery office. Sometime in the 200s, one Peng Shi rallied several supporters in Xiantang County, then formed a bandit gang to feed off the locals. Sun Quan designated Zhou Fang as the county's administrative officer to deal with the problem. He hastily eliminated them within 10 days, so was aptly promoted to serve as the commandant of the West District in Danyang Commandery. When the Wu regime was first established, the government was so overwhelmed by its workload that it had to enact special laws to prevent officials from taking leave from their posts without approval. People continued to disobey Sun Quan, so he felt it was a cause for concern. He held a meeting for his advisors to suggest answers, where Hu Zong suggested that they make it a capital offence. Sun Quan agreed, so enacted this new law that punished officials who left their posts without approval, even when he had to perform filial mourning. After the new law came into practice, the Wu government no longer faced this problem. Hu Zong accompanied Sun Quan on one of the campaigns against Songzhi, then was appointed as the chief of County after Jiangxia had been captured. The glorious Wu victory at the Battle of Red Cliffs soon followed, whereafter Sun Quan designated Jing as the new core of his territories, centered around Wu Ling. He recalled Hu Zong back from County, along with Shi Yi and Shu Xiang, where they were put in charge of Sun Quan's secretariat, therefore were privy to classified information. Around a decade later, the trio were all granted village marquis, in line with Sun Quan's coronation under Cao Pi. When these ties become severed around a year later, Wu was also making preparations for the incoming Shu army for the Battle of Yiling. Sun Quan saw that he had too few troops, so he sent Hu Zong to draft men from the various counties to form the Jifan Corps. About 6,000 men rallied together under Hu Zong and Shu Xiang, who served as the right and left commanders of this two-section fighting force. Within the military system of Wu, the Jifan Guards were a special case. They were an elite unit directly subordinate to the Sun family central committee, unlike the public or private soldiers implemented under the household system. Following Cao Pi's three-pronged invasion, specifically the Battle of Dongku, a Wu general named Jin Zong defected to Wei and made his way to their outpost north of the Yangtze. He Shi was sent as a commander over a lightly armoured force consisting of Mi Fang, Xian Yudan, Liu Shao and Hu Zong. As they made their way to retrieve the traitor, the weather was extremely hot, so most of the Wu forces started to withdraw, which led to Jin Zong letting down his guard. This created an opening, which allowed He Shi to penetrate the Wei line with whatever men he had left and capture the rebel. The rebellion was eventually squashed, so Hu Zong was appointed as a general who establishes might for his involvement. In January or February in 226, one Pen Qi started a rebellion in Poyang Commandery. Once more, Sun Quan appointed Zhou Fang as its administrator, but also sent Hu Zong to help him restore order. After successfully capturing Peng Qi alive and sending him to Sun Quan, Zhou Fang was promoted to the Colonel of Illustrious Righteousness. 2 years later, Zhou Fang became the central figure in the Battle of Xiting, where he pretended to surrender to Cao Xiu. According to legend, Cao Xiu did not believe Zhou Fang at first. To prove his loyalty, he cut off locks of his hair. In any case, he knew the terrain well, so he started to lead Cao Xiu into a clearing where he could set up a camp. Before they left, Xia Kui advised Cao Xiu not to trust Zhou Fang. The Wei commander fell for this ruse, so was lured into an ambush laid by Lu Xun and Zhou Fang, where thousands of enemy troops were reportedly injured or killed. Thanks to Zhou Fang's contributions in battle, they dealt Wei a crushing defeat, whereafter he was rewarded appropriately. His tact would come of use once more when a bandit force rose up in Yujiang and Linchuan. Wu Can and Tangzi led 3,000 troops to attack them but could not breach their base, so Zhou Fang came up with a plan to send a spy to assassinate their leader. It was a great success, as the leader's brother soon arrived with the other bandits, then willingly surrendered to the Wu forces. He governed Poyang fairly and justly for about 13 years until his death, which was probably in early 239. His son, Zhou Chu, would go on to become a valiant hero of the Jin dynasty, when he was forced to fight a 70,000 strong enemy head-on with only 5,000 soldiers and with no supply. He died in an epic last stand, so went on to be honoured in both the Western and Eastern Jin courts. After reported sightings of the Yellow Dragon at Xiaku started cropping up, Sun Quan took it as a sign that he should declare himself emperor. He changed the era name from Huang Wu to Huang Long, which means Yellow Dragon, plus he also created a large banner adorned with the image of a yellow dragon. It was used as a war flag to direct the troop movements in battle. Then he ordered Hu Zong to compose a poem to celebrate the ascension to the throne. When the ally state Shu found out, they sent a congratulatory emissary to reaffirm their allegiance, so Hu Zong produced an elegantly written oath of loyalty to be taken back to Shu. In the same year, the capital was relocated from Wuling back to Jiangyi, where Hu Zong and Xu Xiang were made palace attendants and the right and left commanders of the army. He also increased the rank of their peerage from village to district marquis. Defectors would arrive across the borders from time to time, where some of them reported that the Wei government didn't trust its general Wu Ji, so Hu Zong decided to sow greater discord within the enemy ranks. He forged a 3-point letter that was attributed to Wu Ji, then spread copies of it throughout the spy network in Wei, but by the time it had circulated, Wu Ji had already been relocated back to the capital. The defector Yin Fan indicated that he wanted to join sides with Wu in a letter to Sun Quan. Hu Zong was present at the interview, where Yin Fan analysed current affairs well and provided eloquent answers. Sun Quan felt impressed, but Hu Zong's opinion differed. Yin Fang's defection letter may resemble the writing style of Dongfang Shuo, and his speaking skills may resemble those of Mi Heng, but he isn't as talented as them. He insisted that Yin Fan was not capable of governing people, but they could try giving him a low-level position at the capital, so he was assigned as a judicial officer. Yin Fan's knowledge regarding criminal law served him well alongside his colleagues Zhu Ju and Hao Pu, who asserted that he was capable of much more. Hao Pu in particular got along very well with him, and often complained that his talent was not put to good use. After almost a year of service, it turned out Yin Fan was actually a spy sent by Cao Rui, who wanted him to become the justice minister and stir up internal conflict within Wu. His plot was discovered, so he was put to death by Sun Quan, who blamed Hao Pu for the betrayal and forced him to commit suicide. Unfortunately, Zhu Ju had also sang the praises of Yin Fan, so he became implicated in the case and imprisoned for a long time. Letters were being passed between Gongsun Yuan and Sun Quan, where they almost formed an alliance to carry out a pincer attack on Wei. Zhang Zhao strongly objected to Sun Quan's desires for the alliance and had a bitter quarrel with him over this issue. It was a massive falling out, which even resulted in Sun Quan setting fire to the entrance of Zhang Zhao's residence at one point, but Hu Zong and a few others still tried their best to calm both parties down. The outspoken Zhang Zhao finally forgave Sun Quan after he apologised profusely until they were both on good terms with each other again. Hu Zong went on to become a lieutenant general and left upholder of the law. He died in 243, where his son Hu Chong inherited his peerage. Known for his literary talent and peaceful temperament, he rose to the position of prefect of the palace writers in the late 170s under Sun Hao. After the fall of Wu, he served as an imperial secretary in the government of Jin, then later went on to be the administrator over Wu commandery. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.